Shalom, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. We'll start off by giving all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone. And shalom to the hopeful elect Akim, teaching this word in truth and sincerity. I want to get into the ceremony that is the Pasach, that commemorated the time of our deliverance from the land of Egypt, that culminated in the destruction of the firstborn of them that dwelt in that land, that weren't of the seed of Jacob, okay? And how this is also a representative of the future destruction and salvation of the elect of the nation of Israel in the time of the end, okay? The Most High is going to bring this back, but at a time that where this is going to, this destruction that is impending, is going to trounce that of the plagues of Egypt, okay? A time like never before, where the level of chaos and hell is going to be off the fucking Richter scale, man. All out holy hell, destruction, and death on every side. All right? And how that Passover, that passing over, is going to occur again in a remnant of the nation of Israel, okay? And that there's requirements to that exemption, to that passing over, okay? And go into the solemnity, the requirement of the solemnity in the observance of this day, okay? And this whole deliverance, the whole concept of what this is, all right? It's in Deuteronomy 16:8. 6 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and on the seventh day shall be a solemn assembly to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai thy power, that thou shalt do no work therein. Okay, so this assembly, this ceremony is a solemn one, okay? The word solemn goes into formal and dignified, not cheerful or smiling, serious, characterized by deep sincerity, okay? So it's not a time of laughter and fun and games, okay? And of a surfeiting or a party type of spirit, okay? Just like we mentioned, what is this day in observance of? What is it a commemoration of? Okay? Fucking vicious judgment by the hand of the death angel, Yahushai, okay? And keeping in mind that this is going to occur once again on a scale that's unfathomable, that our minds can't comprehend. All right, the so-called Grim Reaper. All right, the exactor of judgment by the hand of the Heavenly Father is about to perform his work again. All right, when it talks about Yahushai, thrust ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. That's the time that's coming on the planet. And is that a time to play around and to play games and to party it up? All right. Scriptures talk about that spirit of mirth and feasting is the end of all men. Okay. Because when you're in a state of surfeiting, you're vulnerable and susceptible to attack. Okay. And that's also when pride creeps in. All right. And you depart from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Okay. Talks about when you're in that spirit, you're really not thinking about Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, man. Okay. So this thing is to be grave, even. grave going into like crucial, like serious. Something that's grave is giving cause for alarm. All right. And isn't that the spirit that we're to be in, considering the death and destruction that's about to come on this place? All right. Let's just get that already. This is in Ezekiel 9:4. And Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Okay. We're going to get that, Ezekiel 9:4, for that word mark. So this is the spirit that the men of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai would have to be in to receive the mark. They would have to be sighing and crying, which is synonymous with mourning and lamentation. Okay? Which is synonymous with solemnity, being in that solemn spirit, man. And it's fucking heavy because that word Pasach goes into this exact definition for mark. All right? This word mark, it says mark as a sign of exemption from judgment. Okay? So to be exempt from judgment, to even get the mark from the angels, you would have to be sighing and crying, to be in the house of mourning, man. Okay? It talks about the men of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai being in that sorrowful, contrite, completely broken down disposition. Okay. All right, let's get that word Passover in Exodus 12:11. Because the whole signification of the blood on the doorpost was the death angel, the judgment passing over that household, man. In Exodus 12:11, this word Passover, which is Pasach, okay, Festival of Passover. Here it is in the Strong's definition. A pretermission, i.e. exemption. Okay? Is that not the same as the mark of exemption? The mark that is placed on the heads of them that sigh and cry for the abominations that be done in the midst thereof? Okay? So that mark, this Passover, this exemption, is synonymous with solemnity, synonymous with sighing and crying. Okay? So you can't even get your foot in the door, so to speak, without it. So these other fucking camps in the spirit of partying for the Pasach is completely contrary to the Most High. Okay? It's completely out of order. And it's also likened unto you perverting this gospel. And we know what's going to happen to them. But to sum that up, the exemption from judgment, that mark, is the same as the Passover, man. And what do you have to do? What do you have to be to obtain that, huh? Okay. This is in through the Spirit. Let me go through a quick read through of Exodus 12:21-28. It says, and then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families and kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in blood that is in the basin and strike it, the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning, for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, Yahweh Shai will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come into your houses and smite you. Okay? But ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance unto thee and to thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass when ye be come to the land which the Lord will give you according as he hath promised, that ye shall keep this service. Okay, so this service is to be carried out to this day. Okay, and in a solemn nature. All right. Does it not talk about profaning the Sabbath day will be fucking punished with destruction? All right. Well, this is likened to a Sabbath as well, and you're profaning this day by pretty much tying it in with mirth. Okay. By fucking making it into a festival, into a party type of environment. Okay, over there at the fucking strip club. You're over there at a banquet hall. You know what I'm saying? You got higher than a half ratio of fucking women in there. You see? And all kind of other madness. You got niggas in there drinking brew. Drinking fucking, you know what I'm saying? Shit that's leavened up. All right. And indeed, not only are you profaning the Sabbath day, but the Most High Solemn Assembly. What is that going to be rewarded with? This is in Galatians 1. We're going to go straight to the point. It says, well, this is the point. Galatians 1:6. I marvel that ye are so soon removed from him that called you into the grace of a Mashiach into another gospel, which is not another, but there be some that trouble you and would pervert the gospel of a Mashiach. Come on over here. Come on over here and get you a wife. Okay? Come on over here to the fucking the Israelite fucking catwalk to the fashion show that we're gonna have on the Pasach. All right, fucking having harlots, straight up harlots, fucking serve drinks at your ceremony, man. Completely profaning and perverting this gospel, man. Perverting the that which pertaineth unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. That's going to be especially cursed. It says, but though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. As we said before, so I now again, so say I now again. If any man preach any other gospel unto you than that ye have received, let him be accursed. For do I now persuade men? For do I now persuade men or the Most High? Or do I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of Hamashiach. And that's really the source of the why these niggas run it like this. Okay? They get it for those numbers and to please the men in their congregation, which are extremely carnal. These are fucking guys who did the process of elimination and actually chose an IUIC or a Sakari or ISUPK. Okay, we don't think really highly of those type men that made that evaluated you know, these different camps and went with them that least embody the characteristics of the elect. Okay? That's really what it is. These fucking niggas didn't want to go up the right way. Okay? To the path of the elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down. Because they knew that this thing was solemn. That they knew this thing wasn't going to be a fucking party time. Fun and games, man. Okay? So it goes and it lends back to their lack of sincerity in this whole thing. Okay? Which solemn really goes back to anyway. To sincerity. Taking this thing seriously, man. Which these niggas don't fucking do. And the Most High is just going to wipe them out. It was in Ecclesiastes 7. It says, and we'll start at the second verse. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to its heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by the sadness of the countenance the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. Okay? So that's exactly what you have. This is fucking the house of Saul we're talking about here. With their shenanigans, man. And we're set up as defenders of the gospel of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai to mark them, okay, to put the scope on them, all right, and as aforementioned, show the significance and the solemnity of the ministry of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, specifically the solemn assembly that is Passover, man. Fucking piece of shit. It even talks about us eating in haste. Okay? Because the destruction is nigh. Fuck do you think is going on here, man? And finishing off. This is in Ezekiel 21:9. Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith Yahweh, say, a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree. And he hath given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened and is furbished to give it to the hand of the slayer. Okay? So this is another example of scriptural rhetoric where the question is posed, should we be making mirth? And the answer is absolutely not. In a time where the Most High is going to influence the minds of the nations, the leaders, military leaders of the nations with nuclear arsenals to deploy weapons of mass destruction, man. Okay? It's what these different nations officials are saying should be at the forefront of everyone's mind. Okay? And in what? To fucking party? Or in a state of preparation and readiness? Okay, that's what E is. That's what E's on. Okay? In a time where the Most High is about to unleash this nigga, man, the slayer. He said he's going to come down with great wrath right when these niggas are surfeiting. So it's time, as this day is approaching the Pasach, to be in a state of contrition, okay? To be humbled and low, staying very low, okay? All right? So with that, all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Hashem HaKadosh.